Good Vibes Show fans. Welcome to episode 8 of season 2 of the Good Vibes Show by me, Jerry Holly, part of the Special Chronicler. So folks, season 2 has been themed around STEMmy, but before we go into today's episode, I just hope folks have been catching up on seasons 1 through 11 of the Good Vibes Show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts from, as well as listen to my special The Road to 2022 USA Games, which is sort of talking about my training up to the 2022 Special Olympics USA Games, to the results and the results afterwards, as well as listening to the recap sessions for all the seasons as well. So, like I said earlier, season 2 has been themed around STEMmy. So, episodes 1 through 7, this is the order they're going to be said, folks, have thus far been the general explanation of stemming, tapping, rocking, pacing, humming, grunting, staring at lights, and rotating objects, or slashing and rotating objects, depending on how you want to look at it. And today's appreciation support of positive things, aka good vibes, goes to rearranging objects. So, obviously, I sometimes rearrange objects probably during this show, obviously, but most of the time I don't do it because it makes a noise in front of the microphone, folks. So, every now and then, rearranging objects is a form of stemming. It's a very sensory-based one. So, every so often, I might rearrange things within my realm of where I'm sitting, just to make sure I can redo it, just to make sure it doesn't bother me. And I may actually do it quite a bit in some meetings as well, but most of the time I try to do it to make sure, hey, where is something and such, and maybe I move it to things. But I think some people just rearrange things because they need to. I'm actually rearranging right now on the show, moving something to one side to the other, just because maybe it's distracting me in one spot, but rearranging it just allows me to reposition it better. And I think as we look at this, folks don't realize that rearranging is objects may sound like a thing that you're rearranging and doing orderly stuff, I guess. But I think also some people don't realize people do it just to make sense, like, hey, my space feels cluttered, I want to make it feel better so I don't have sensory overload from it. I think folks don't realize that's what's going on when you're rearranging objects and such. And I think folks don't appreciate the fact of what's going on in it. So I think I look at it as a way of positivity. I'm actually going to rearrange another object because it might be bothering me right now. It's just maybe just a simple business card, or maybe I'm moving a flashlight, which actually I just did, and you might hear this. I might move something else that's underneath the mic, move it somewhere else. So like I'm actually doing live rearranging objects, demonstrating this stemming to you in this episode right now, because it's proven the fact that one, maybe it's a sensory thing for folks, and it's a stemming way to basically rearrange things to make sure they feel comfortable and such. So I think as we look at this, folks do all these, and like I said earlier on, I'm actually going to say is now that probably all the stemming I'm going to talk about, I probably have done, or I still do to some degree, or may have done things. So I think folks don't understand this form of stemming. It's quite unique in itself, because like I said, all forms of stemming are perfectly human before, and I think when we look at it this way, we are perfectly human when we stem. And I think folks don't understand that, one, we have to have our self-regulations to help us feel better. And I think folks need to understand it very much. And I think in the lifespan of it all is that stemming is a perfectly human thing. I think maybe I could say good vibes is a form, doing the good vibes show is a form of stemming to me as well, because maybe I need to have a verbal way of self-regulating and stuff, but also talking to folks as well. So folks, I appreciate all of listening into this, because maybe I'm starting to think of this that good vibes is a form of stemming to me. Who knows, maybe podcasting is a form of stemming to some folks. And maybe that is a new form of stemming we can think about, and that could be for another time. So folks, here's a great sponsor ad from our sponsor, the Special Chronicles Network. The Good Vibes Show is proud to be featured on the Special Chronicles Network. Visit specialchronicles.com for the links to follow on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Be sure to also subscribe to the newsletter and find the podcast page for this podcast, The Good Vibes Show by me, Jerry Holly. If you love The Good Vibes Show, then you love the other podcasts on the Special Chronicles Network. Visit specialchronicles.com for links to subscribe to our podcast, newsletter, and to follow us on social media. And to support the podcast on Special Chronicles, so we continue our mission of giving respect and voice to people with special talents and abilities. Visit specialchronicles.com/give to make a gift today. So folks, I said throughout this series that stemming is perfectly human, and I actually use the hashtag when I post these things, hashtag stemming is perfectly human. Well, I actually made that a design on Redbubble, So, folks, if you want to get that, of course, along with any other Good Vibes stuff, I may actually consider making some new Good Vibes designed soon, shortly, because I think the Good Vibes show needs a little more fun treatment and stuff. I think sometimes I don't take the opportunity to look at it that way. But I just reminding folks that you could go to my Redbubble shop. You look up my R. St. Jerry M. Holy. That's where you can find all my good things, including the hashtag Stemmy's Perfectly Human. So, folks, do check that out when you ever have a chance. And, folks, also remember to follow the Good Vibes Show on Instagram at Good Vibes by JH and Facebook.com Facebook.com/GoodVibesByJH. You can follow on YouTube, YouTube.com/GoodVibesByJH. But also subscribe to the Good Vibes Show by Jerry Holly on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts from. You can also subscribe to my YouTube channel to listen to this as well. I just thank you folks for all tuning in thus far for season 12. I hope you continue on listening in for such. So, hope you all have a great week. So, until next time, peace out, boop, blah, and have a great time, everyone. I hope you all have a great week. I'll see you next time for episode 9, everyone. Until then, bye, everyone.